A very good evening. Good to have you with us this Sunday. I'm William Evans, and these are some of the top stories tonight. Representatives from various institutions across the country who are members of the Pan-African movement are looking at ways of promoting the culture of finding homegrown solutions to the continent's challenges and striving for self-worth on the international stage. While the Rwanda Environment Management Authority, REMA, says that more than 1,000 vehicles have so far undergone emission testing. On the international scene, the International Committee of Red Cross and the Red Crescent report to have received over 7,000 requests from people looking for their missing relatives because of the conflict in Sudan. It's always a pleasure having you join me for the news in English. Those in the music and film industry say that there is hope for the Rwandan talent in this sector will soon reach the international level. This was highlighted during the premiere of a film titled Killer Music on Sunday evening, a film produced to meet international standards, and the premiere took place at the Century Cinema, where a Killer Music film centered mainly on music was showcased. The event brought together people from different backgrounds, including leaders from various institutions, musicians, and film actors. The film was written by Jacques Murigande, popularly known as Mighty Popo, who said the purpose of the film is to educate, especially young women in music, on how they pursue their careers successfully and reach their goals without having to compromise themselves. He added that in making the film, his aim was to bring Rwandan talent to the international stage. Attendees of the premiere praised the film's production and the storyline, saying it gives the hope for the future of Rwanda's music industry. Killer Music features Rwandans, Ugandans, and Kenyans, and the equipment used and the sound quality of the international quality. This film, which had been in the making for 3.5 years, cost around 200 million Rwandan francs to complete. Although it was produced in English language, there are plans to have it translated into Kinyarwanda so that it can reach a wider Rwandan audience. Representatives from various institutions across the country who are members of the Pan-African Movement, PAM, an organization that advocates for the dignity and pride of Africans, gathered this Sunday for discussions aimed at promoting the culture of finding homegrown solutions to the continent's challenges and striving for self-worth on the international stage. Take a look at this report. The discussions mainly focused on restoring dignity to the continent, seeking African solutions to African problems without necessarily depending on external help, and ensuring Africa has a voice in global affairs. Rwanda has made good progress, but like we always say, Africa needs to be united and foster good governance. Also, Africans should seek education and upgrade their skills so that on whatever decisions are made for us, we can also have a say on the negotiating table. As Rwandan youths, our goal is to encourage other young people from different parts of Africa that are not at the same level like us and encourage them to work towards improving without causing instability in Africa. Ambassador Nyiramata Zaina and Dr. Nkraija noted that Rwanda has become a model, showing other nations that Africa can achieve anything as long as there is strong determination. The leadership of our country, especially the president, has made significant contribution to the unity of Africa, especially during his tenure as chair of the African Union. The idea of bringing together all Africans in unity, collaboration and solidarity is still a valid dream. There could be challenges here and there, but we can overcome them as a collective effort. Rwanda's fast pace, coupled with the willingness of Rwandans and this Pan-African Movement Rwanda chapter, there is hope that the next Congress could be held in Rwanda. Our desire is that we have high attendance so that Pan-Africanism goes even to the young generation. Rwanda has often made bold and unexpected decisions that surprise many foreigners, serving as inspiration to governments across the continent. Musoni Prote, chairperson of the Pan-African Movement Rwanda chapter, stressed that African problems contain their own solutions and that unity among Africans is the key to ensuring the continent has strong voices on the global stage.
On the whole, Africa is still with issues of dependency, whether material, intellectual dependency to the outside world. I will talk about food insufficiency, medicine, technology, even weapons, all those ones that really guard your sovereignty. We are dependent on them. Next big question that we have is disunity. We are not united. We don't have a common purpose to deal with the world. And yet the world sees us as one, but we see each other as different. Again, we need to go into high-level mobilization and building partnerships and integration mechanisms that will strengthen the cooperation of Africa. So those are two major problems, I would say. But the most critical is our mindset, our self-sufficiency mindset, to always look for solutions from elsewhere. Whether peacekeeping, whether it is peacemaking, whether it is peace, security, conflict resolutions, we are still dependent to the outside, and Pan-African has to get a mindset to look for solutions on our own. As we say, African problems, African solutions.
The Pan-African movement envisions an Africa that is well-governed, secure, food-sufficient, and influential in global affairs, an Africa that meets these aspirations by the year 2063. The Rwanda Environment Management Authority, REMAS, says that more than 1,000 vehicles have so far undergone emission testing to check the level of smoke they release into the atmosphere. The agency reminds vehicle owners that beyond protecting human health from harmful fumes, emission testing also helps them in maintaining proper condition of their own vehicles. We do have details. At the Rwanda National Police Vehicle Inspection Center in Musanze District, Northern Province, one of the 5 designated sites for testing vehicles, are inspected to measure smoke emissions and ensure they do not harm the environment or cause diseases linked to air pollution. Nyonga Otieri, the officer in charge of the Musanze inspection site, explains that drivers immediately receive results showing the condition of their vehicles.
The
machine guides you, it shows you that you have now reached an idle speed. Then, the machine generates a certificate that is automatically printed. Therefore, a client leaves this place knowing if they've passed or failed the test. Emission testing services are currently available in Huye, Rwamagana, Musanze, and Kigali in Lemera. At the Musanze Center, technology-based systems are used to carry out the inspections in real time. Vehicle owners we spoke to said they now understand the importance of checking emissions. We have been told that some of the emissions are dangerous to humans and the environment, and it is important to have the test done. That way, we are contributing to the sustainable development our country has so far achieved. I just got my gas emission test results. I'm now waiting for police results too. They told us that these emissions can potentially be harmful to the environment and the people. I am seeing this for the very first time, but I am happy because it is actually very helpful. Hakizimana Pierre Celeste, an officer in charge of air quality monitoring at REMA, says motorcycles will also start undergoing emission testing in the coming days. He emphasizes that controlling vehicle emissions is vital for both public health and vehicle maintenance. We have seen good participation from drivers every other day. From the time we started, numbers keep going up, and we are now over 1,000 cars. Vehicle inspection now has 2 sections, and both must be checked and passed. We continue to encourage Rwandans to endeavor testing their vehicles as a way of protecting the air quality and the environment, but also for the safety of their own vehicles. According to a ministerial order on environment issued on August 25, 2025, Article 24 stipulates that any person responsible for a motorized transport unit who fails to comply with emission regulations commits an offense and is liable for a fine of 3 million Rwandan francs. Meanwhile, the owner of the vehicle who fails to comply with emission standards is subject to a fine of 25,000 Rwandan francs. Now to matters agriculture. Farmers practicing greenhouse cultivation across the country want the government to increase efforts in promoting this type of farming, saying it is one of the ways to boost agricultural productivity, reduce food imports, and achieve self-sufficiency. One of the more than 120 greenhouses used for vegetable farming is located in Imbonwa wetland in Chinyinya sector in Kigali city. The 16 by 30 meter greenhouse has over 4,000 tomato plants, which can be harvested continuously for 7 months. The yields from the greenhouse is more significantly higher than that gotten from traditional farming. Another advantage of the greenhouses is that common pests and diseases less affect crops. This has attracted investors who see potential in greenhouse farming. However, many farmers say greenhouses are expensive because of the cost of materials, but also solutions exist such as cheaper wooden greenhouses that are still durable. Through the Sustainable Agriculture Intensification and Food Security Project, the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources provides a 70% subsidy to farmers who need greenhouses. The government's goal is to increase productivity per hectare to ensure food self-sufficiency and surplus for the market. As part of the second phase of the National Strategy for Transformation, the government of Rwanda has committed to raising agricultural growth to over 6% annually from 5% in 2024. Now, since 2019, the Give Directly project has provided 25 billion Rwandan francs, focused in five of the 13 sectors that make up the Sagara district of the southern province, with beneficiaries saying the program has brought significant improvements to their livelihoods. Some used the money to buy farmland, others invested directly in farming and livestock, others renovated their houses or started small businesses. Each household received 800,000 Rwandan francs as a non-repayable grant. However, despite positive changes, some people misuse the money and have yet to see any tangible benefits. Regardless, the Vice Mayor of the Sagara district in charge of economic development, Jean-Paul Habineza, has noted that the program has helped to accelerate the government's anti-poverty strategy. Beyond the Sagara, the Give Directly initiative has also been extended to Nyamagabe and Nyanza districts, also in the southern province, where in total over 57 billion Rwandan francs have been distributed. Now to Bugesera. In Bugesera district, the base Butaro-Kidaho road has now reached the stage just before tamaking. Residents say that having a paved road in their area is proof of good governance, and prioritizing is proof of good governance that prioritizes their needs. The 63-kilometer road is divided into two sections, a 41-kilometer stretch from base to Butaro being constructed by NPD contractor, and a 22-kilometer section from Chidaho to Butaro being handled by the China Road and Bridge Corporation. Currently, the Chidaho-Butaro section has reached the pre-tarmac stage, with Lee being the project supervisor for that section, reporting that it is 80% complete.
From Kidaho to Butalo, according to the price schedule, we have already progress schedule. We have already finished like 80% of the work for this section. So you see, from the beginning of this week, we already started the priming code of the trail section. And after that, we have also the plan to do the asphalt trail section the coming week. This is our current progress plan.
Excitement is high among communities along the road, who say the arrival of tarmac is now within reach, while Thierry Kamuhanda Muneza, the overall project manager for the base Butaro Chidaho Road, has said that similar pre-tarmac works will begin on base section next week. So far, about 1,000 workers are employed on the project. The base Butaro Chidaho Road is on track to be completed earlier than expected, and the entire 63-kilometer road is projected to cost 96 billion Rwandan francs in total. We now take a glimpse of the upcoming episode of the Password Show, where our colleague Enora Gladys sits down with co-founder and head of product at Pebla with a wealth of experience and insights that are sure to inspire the next generation of innovators. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to today's Culture Plus segment where we dive into young people's lives from the other countries currently in Rwanda. What does their experience look like? What can they share with us as people from other countries to us? What can we learn from them? That is why today I'm sitting together with someone from Ghana. His name is David Masope. He's the co-founder and head of products at Pebla. Over the last 3 years, he has worked as the intersection of design, engineering, and business, leading teams to build products customers love primarily within the field of fintech in Africa. Prior to starting Pebla, he led the product at Leather, an AI fintech startup, to Techstars Toronto and stabilized their platforms while doubling AUM. David holds an MSIT from the Carnegie Mellon University and has a bachelor's degree in computer science from the African Leadership University. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
While reading this, I just had a lot of curiosity within me. How come someone who is still young already has such kind of a biography?
Thank you for that question. I was lucky. I think that's the simplest way to put it. I got my start in tech at the age of 17.
Yes.
So I'm now 25 for perspective, and I had a lot of internships. And so I got to figure out very early on what I liked and what I didn't like. And that's where I discovered fintech. Yes. And so I've just been working in the space, and stacking up a lot of chips as the time went on. And so that leads me today, where I've decided to strike out on my own.
Oh, interesting. Coming back to your nationality and where you are right now, you come from Ghana, but yes, you are in Rwanda. For how long have you been in Rwanda so far? Approximately
in and out, about 7 years.
7 years.
Yes. Yes.
In the first place, when you came, what did you think about the country?
I thought it was very progressive. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised when I got here. I didn't know what to expect, to be very honest. But every time I leave the country and I come back, it feels like you're planting roads like trees, and there's so much development happening. So that was definitely refreshing. So definitely progressive. And a country that cared very much about the youth and what they were doing. So that was definitely my first impression of it.
I get to understand that, yes, it's progressive, but is it the reason why you took a decision to always come continuously in the country from time to time?
Okay, no. So I came here for my undergrad in the beginning. So that's a 4-year period, right? So I got a scholarship to attend the African Leadership University. And that was the start for me. I did computer science at the time. It was a relatively new campus. And so I stayed, finished my course, went back briefly for a couple of months to work on a different product, and then came back to do my master's. And during the course of that, I started, this business that I'm doing now. And so it's just been a combination of years doing school and work together.
Yes. David, I would like you to take us through your experience and also your journey to be the co-founder of Pebla. What does it do, and is it also aligned with your education, the education that you got from the African Leadership University and also Carnegie Mellon?
Well, yes, and yes. I think yes is the answer I'd give to that. So with regard to my journey, I like to say that, like I said to you in the beginning, I was lucky. And so growing up, I probably wrote my first line of code when I was 13. So my parents introduced me to that, and I was very passionate about technology. So I said, you know what, if I'm going to do technology, I need to probably understand how these systems work. And so that's why I chose computer science. But along the way, I found out that I liked, not just coding. I didn't like reading lines of code as much as I liked the impacts they would create. So I said, you know what, there's definitely, there must be some intersection between coding and business. And that's how I found products management. And so I started to, read up on it, and then I got some internships in the space, particularly within the field of fintech. And that led me to the company I worked for. It was a venture-backed startup, meaning that there's investors, foreign investors that put money into it and expect it to grow really big. And I got to learn what the startup game was like. And so I did that for a while, and I got into my master's at Carnegie Mellon University, and where I did my MSIT. I focused on products, continued to focus on product management, and I saw a gap within the market to be able to provide a service or a product, and that is Pebbler. And so what Pebbler is a USSD automation tool. So it's very similar to an app like Faranga or Nokanda, if you're familiar with it. But essentially what these tools do is that they allow you to access telco and bank services without necessarily having to put in the long string. So no need for *182, *1. Sometimes I forget which is which, whether it's *1 or *2, I think.
Exactly.
And so I said, you know what, if I can provide a service like this, I think there's a lot of expats just like me who have these issues that would enjoy, using this product.
Sure. Yeah. So you brought out Pebbler with a name and with also some sort of expectation that it's going to be maybe problem solving to some sort of problems in the society. So far, how do you see its progress, and what do you think in the future Pebbler is going to be in Africa and also in Rwanda, of course?
That's a brilliant question. And so in that regard, the first is entrepreneurship is not easy. And I think to the youth listening to me now, you will go through a significant amount before you figure out what product market fit is, right? So which means all of a sudden people just understand what you're building and they start to share organically with their friends. So we are in the early stages of that, and we've done about 300% growth in the last month. So we launched 2 months ago. We've done 300% growth, which is great, but it can be better because you're looking for so much more growth than that. But with regard to where we see this going, we are hoping to be able to get deeper and deeper into financial services and really help users save, people from the diaspora invest here in Rwanda. And there's a bunch of different plans we have, but you will see as they unfold.
Sure, I understand. You're 25 only,
yes.
And you're already a co-founder, a CEO of a certain company, which is also aiming to build, to contribute to the society, something that is normally a problem, but is going to be solved by your company. What password, what advice would you like to give to young people living in Rwanda, living in Africa, all around the world?
So whenever I'm asked this question, my answer is to act. So A stands for be audacious, C stands for curiosity, and T stands for tenacious. So audacity means be bold, right? Go out and share your dream. When I was starting this thing, I didn't have anything at all. We recently got a bit of a grant to be able to run it, but I just shared my vision on LinkedIn, and there were people, actually my co-founders, saw it and were like, wow, this is very interesting. I'd like to join you and build this. And some of them even flew to Rwanda with no money. I wasn't paying them. They just loved the vision and wanted to be a part of it. The second thing is to be curious. Ask questions. The world is big today. There's a lot of people that you can access just by reaching out to on LinkedIn, right? I leverage that a lot. Yes. Ask questions to these people who have built similar things in different countries, right? Connect to them. And the final thing is to be tenacious. It's hard building stuff on the African continent. Sure. The infrastructure is definitely different. There's not as much funding, risk capital available. And so it takes a lot of grit to get going. But if you can act, be audacious, curious, and tenacious, you would have some positive outcomes in the end.
Yes, so it's audacity, curiosity, and tenacious. That is an overview, and also in brief, what is he going through in Rwanda? As my last question, how do you see the country so far in the whole 7 years that you stayed, and how do you see the people? Because I know you already had colleagues from Rwanda, right?
Yes, yes. I love the country. It is so progressive. Like I said to you, every time I come here, I feel like there's growth happening, right? It took me roughly 6 hours or less to probably get my company registration going. And it's not a farce. It's that good. Everybody is so helpful. The systems just work. I think that's the thing. And it's clean. No corruption. I haven't heard of a corruption case, and I've been here 7 years. Maybe I don't listen enough, but it's been smooth, right? And I'm very happy to be a part of it, especially along the lines of the NST2, where the government is really focusing on, bringing more digital services and attracting foreign capital. So this is the place to be if you're hoping to ride on the wave that is going on here in the country. And so I'm very excited about the future, and I love the vision of the people. Sure. It's inspiring.
Yeah, audacity, curiosity, and tenacious. That is today's advice, today's password from David Masope, all the way from Ghana, currently living in Rwanda, a co-founder and also the CEO of Pebla, which is going to be contributing in fintech. For the next time, let's see you together and also get to learn, get to hear from other people from other countries, get to hear from their voices what they speak and what they think about the country. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Nora Gladys. Of course, that is just a glimpse into the next generation of fintech innovators. Be sure to catch the full episode of the Password this week. Now we take a break and return with international news.
Every journey has a beginning. From nature comes refreshing fruity goodness that keeps you going every day. With every pack complementing life's best moments. Not one, not two, but 5 different fruity flavors. And this journey keeps giving. Introducing Inyandi's new fruity juice flavors, guava and cocktail. Now available at your nearest shop. Always ask for Inyandi.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze inka imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi hari abamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njye muri kaminuza hari abanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byarangiye nangiza amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abahomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye zibimaho. Bigereho.
Welcome back from that short break. Now on the international scene, the conflict in Sudan has ripped families apart as the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent report to have received more than 7,000 requests from people looking for their missing relatives. One father who lost contact with his family for 18 months was able to find them. Al Jazeera with the details.
Fatma Ali has blossomed since we first met her back in February.
She's displaced from Khartoum. Her husband missing since the war began.
She is reunited with her husband Shamoun after a year and a half of thinking he was dead.
I kept telling the children he was somewhere, just unable to reach us, but in fact, I was completely at a loss. And I was wondering what really happened to him. I couldn't focus on the children or on him being missing.
The family lived in Khartoum until it turned into a battleground between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces in August 2023.
Shelling intensified in the urban area. Mortar shells began to fall on us. The children panicked, so I decided that they should leave. I stayed behind to guard the house. We thought the war would end soon and they would be able to return.
But in the chaos, both Sham'un and Fatma lost their phones. Fatma and the children ended up in Sennar, sheltering in a school. Sham'un searched for them in vain.
In a dark room with no electricity, Fatma Ali shows
One day, a colleague showed him a news report being circulated in town.
He said it was done by Al Jazeera about Sennar. When I watched it, I said, "Man, this is my family." I said, "I swear, it's my family." It was such a huge surprise.
His story sparks painful memories for Fatma.
I hope we can go back and return to our previous life. I knew my children would be okay as long as I was with them, but for their father to be gone, that was a real problem. I knew it would mean more suffering.
Aya, the eldest daughter, and her younger siblings watched in thoughtful silence.
Back then, our children went to school and were very happy. Not one of our children was out of school. They even went to private schools, not public ones.
Now it's been more than 2 years since they saw the inside of a classroom, except as somewhere to shelter. But when schools reopened and the army retook the capital, displaced families were forced to leave. Some were bussed back to Khartoum. Others live in abandoned buildings. Fatma and Sham'un say they are luckier than many others. After the reunion, Sham'un managed to find a place where to build this little shack for a family of 9. As you can see, it has no door to protect from rain, wind or sun. But they say they are happy with the little bit of privacy and freedom it provides. As night falls, it becomes clear how much more they still need to live a decent life. And their situation is the norm for millions of people displaced by the conflict. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera, Sennar, Southeastern Sudan.
In Argentina's South Patagonia, conservationists are working to protect the once endangered puma, striving to promote coexistence between humans and the pumas. Al Jazeera once more.
In the vast wilderness of Argentina's southern Patagonia region, an elusive predator is making a comeback. The puma, or mountain lion, was once hunted nearly to extinction. But now environmentalists like Emiliano Donadillo are working towards defending its role in nature.
Ranchers, because they have to protect their sheep, they kill pumas. Our work is trying to stop that from happening and trying to convince ranchers that it's possible to coexist in the land with.
Conservation advocates want to promote ecotourism in these areas as an alternative income. But defending the puma continues to be a challenge. Roma and her likely sister Mala were spotted by Donadillo and his team in the Monte Leon National Park. They use collars to monitor and track the whereabouts of at least 30 pumas in the area. But Mala was killed when she crossed into a nearby ranch. We walked for hours trying to find the surviving puma, who has a GPS collar, until we found her.
The pumas are extraordinary predators. Despite being the 4th largest big cat in the world, they're solitary and elusive. Roma, she's about a year and a half old. It's right there.
Pumas in the area mostly survive by hunting the llama's closest relative, guanaco, and penguins near the southernmost shores of South America. For Donadillo, understanding the behavior of these wild animals is crucial to help solve the conflict.
But when native prey is available and abundant, predators tend to go for the native prey and avoid going for domestic prey species.
But ranchers in the area are concerned about the advance of protected areas and the wildlife that comes with it.
There is an advance of wild animals, and we cannot do much about it as there are protected areas. But if a puma comes into our land and does nothing, I don't have a problem. But if it starts killing the sheep, then we have to use lethal force.
An example of the tension that exists between conservation and agricultural production in Argentina. Exploring alternatives is crucial for wildlife to thrive. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Santa Cruz, Argentina.
With that report, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin, and of course the countdown continues with only 7 days to the UCI World Championship here in Kigali. From the entire team and me, have a good night, good luck and goodbye.